everyone, and welcome to another week of Project Life with 2 Peas in a Bucket. My name is Melissa, and I have a confession. I am a Project Life cover page failure. I'm actually really good at getting the weeks in between my covers filled, but as you can see as you look through my albums, the beginning and end pages are basically just the backs of all of my regular weekly spreads. So my albums look like this, and this, and this, and well, you get the point. I know I'm not alone in my cover page conundrum because I've had several people leave comments and ask me to cover this topic in a video. So today I'm going to take one of those albums, the one that spans between 2012 and 2013, and add a beginning and end page to it. I'll be using a lot of the same ideas that I gave in my video for layouts without a lot of photos, and to start things off, I'd like to cover a couple of digital techniques. So for title pages in Project Life, you can use a lot of the same techniques that I gave in my video on what to do when you don't have a lot of photos, which is to use really large photos or to use really pretty filler cards that maybe you don't have space for in your regular album or that don't fit with the theme of a certain week. And I'd like to start off in Photoshop and show how to use digital brushes and then show how to chop up a large photo into 4x6s that can be printed at a regular developer instead of sent off to be printed in a large format. So it's a little bit less expensive this way, or if you're like me and you just want to print at home but only have a 4x6 printer, then this is a great way to get that done. If you aren't interested in the computer portion of today's video, there is of course a scrapping portion also, and you should be seeing the timestamp for that on your screen about right now. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start on the Photoshop portion. Now last time I showed a photo that was 12x8 that I cut up. I want to do a 12x6 vertical this time to fill half of a Design A page protector. So I'm going to go ahead and open my photo. And when I open it at first, it's going to be exactly the ratio it came out of my camera. This is a photo of my husband and I at the aquarium. And we found this mirror off to the side, and we both had cameras and we both took pictures, and it was just, as I was flipping through my photos for the time period covered by my album, this just jumped out to me as the photo that I wanted to use for the front cover of this album. So I'm going to go ahead and blow this up to fit onto the screen so you can see a little bit more easily what I'm doing. And the first thing I'm going to do is crop it down to a 6x12. I'm going to click on the crop tool and select that. And then up here I've already filled in the width box 6 inches and the height of 12 inches. And all I have to do now is drag across the photo to create the bounding box and then center it up where I would like it. And since I want to use a digital brush on this, I'm going to leave a little bit more space down here where I want to put that brush in. So I think that looks great. I'm going to press the Enter key, and I've cropped to a 6x12. So let me blow this up again to fit on the screen and then show you what I mean about digital brushes. Digital brushes are just like stamps, except that you don't have to have an ink pad and you can make them any color that you want. The easiest way to color a brush is to choose your foreground color before you stamp on screen. And to do that, you have this white box and black box. The front box indicates what color is currently set as your foreground, and this is your background. If you want to change the foreground color, simply click on that white box, and then you can choose a color from anywhere in the spectrum that you want. Now I want to leave mine as white because I want the stamp in white, so I'm going to cancel out of this. And then I'm going to open up the brush tool. The brush tool is right here, and it might be hidden. It should be in this location on your toolbar. But if there is something else on top right here, just right click on that. You may have the pencil tool, you may have the color replacement tool. And go ahead and click on the brush tool and select that. Now brushes are files that need to be installed to Photoshop. Luckily, to install them, all you really have to do is open them in Photoshop. I've already opened the brushes that I'm going to use, but I'm going to open up the files to show you what I mean. I'm going to use a set of brushes that were at 2 Ps in May or June. I'm trying to remember which. They're no longer available in the shop, but You can also use a PNG image in a similar fashion as a brush. In fact, I think they're actually a little bit easier, and I will show you that in just a little bit. But first, let me go ahead and show you these brushes. These are ABR files, and those are the extension that you'll see for Photoshop brushes. I believe they also work in Photoshop Elements, so things may be slightly different if you're using Elements, since I'm using full version of Photoshop, but you'll get the idea. And each of these has already been installed into my Photoshop library. Now when you click on the brush tool, it brings up this menu across the top, and right here you can click the down arrow and you can see every brush that's been installed to your system. And the last 6 that I installed were the Banana Fish Studio brushes from 2Piece. And one of the reasons that brushes are a little bit difficult to use in Photoshop is because you get these really squished looking thumbnails. But you can kind of work around that, because once you click on one and then kind of mouse off, you can see how large it's going to be. And you can also see what the design is. Now you can change the size of this before you click. I'm going to make mine 1000 pixels. Make it nice and big. And then go ahead, and all you have to do is click, and it's stamped on there. Now if you think you want to do several layers of brushes, let me back up from that. You can go to Layer, New, and Layer, and put a layer on top of your photo. So now your photo is your background, and you have another layer on top of this. And the reason you might want to do that is if you want to make this brush a little bit more transparent, or if you want to do some blending of just your brushes without messing up your photo. I'm not going to go into all that today, but I'm just kind of giving you a starter on layering. If you want to change the opacity, if you have the layer selected over here in the Layers palette, opacity is right here at the top, and you can just punch in a number. So let's say I want to make this 50% transparent. And you can see now it's a little bit gray, and you can see a bit of the photo behind it. So that's what changing the transparency can do for you. I'm going to leave mine at 100% white. So that's how you work with brushes. Like I said, it's just like a digital stamp. You click it instead of stamping. Let me go ahead and remove that and show you how you can get a very similar effect with a PNG. So whenever you buy a set of cut files from the 2Piece digital shop, they also come with a PNG image of those same files. So even if you don't have a digital cutter, you can still buy those images and use them in a very similar fashion to a digital brush. I'm going to open the PNGs from the Fall Trends cut files that are in the shop this month. So let me just drag that over here to Photoshop. And they're all on the same layer, but it's really easy to select just one. I'm going to select the rectangle bounding tool, and let's take the cute little mushroom here and select it. And all I have to do is draw the box around it. It doesn't have to be exact or perfect, because the background of this is transparent, which means it's going to let your photo show through. So let me edit and copy that. And then over on my photo, I'm going to go to Edit again and Paste. And of course you can use shortcut keys if you want. Now since this was black over on the original file, it shows up as black over here. And we can easily change that, and I will do that in a minute. But first I'm going to resize. I'm going to hold down the Shift key while grabbing that corner and dragging my mouse until it's the size that I want. Now the mushroom I know doesn't make much sense on this photo. Mostly this is just for tutorial purposes. So now we have a mushroom, and I like to color it white. Photoshop has a series of keys that you can press to fill just the pixel portion of the image, that would be just the black lines, with the currently selected foreground color. So just like we chose a foreground color before stamping a digital stamp or a brush file, we can do the same thing and choose a foreground color before we recolor the pixels on this mushroom image. Now I'm going to stick with white again. And what you choose, you hit Option, Shift, and Delete. And it will apply the foreground color just like that to the image. Now on Windows, that's going to be Control, Shift, and Backspace. So all you have to remember is to hit those 3 keys, hold them down at the same time, and it will apply the foreground color to your to your PNG image and it will act just like a digital brush. So now I'm back to my image with the On This Day stamp added to the photograph. And I'm going to save this so that I can take it into an app that I'm using to slice it up. I'm going to just save it as a JPEG on my desktop. So in order to split my 6x12 image into 3 4x6s, I'm going to use an app from the App Store on a Mac called Tile Photos FX. What it will do is it will split that image up automatically into whatever number of slices and shape really that I want. The app is $3.99. And while you can go into Photoshop and select each portion individually and save it out, this just makes it a whole lot quicker. And so for me, it was worth spending a little bit extra to have that flexibility. So this is what the app looks like, and all you have to do is drag your photo and drop it. Now right now it has diamonds selected, so yes, you can crop and slice into different shapes. In fact, you can do triangles. So I have 4 triangles here, or I can make it do 32 slices. You can do all kinds of really cool stuff with this. But we're going to stick with the rectangle for right now. Since this is 6x12 and I want to make it into 3 slices, I'm going to want 1 column and 3 rows. And you can see I have 1, 2, and 3. And it automatically has given me 3 4x6 images. To save this, I need to make sure I tell it I want a JPEG. I'm going to turn the quality all the way up because I like the best print quality possible, and click on Save Slices. And when the menu comes up, I just have a folder I've called Slices on my desktop. I'm going to tell it to save, and it will automatically create those slices. If I go and look inside this folder, now it does like to put it inside of a Tile Photos FX folder. I have not found a setting to fix that, but it's a slight annoyance. There are my 3 photos. Let me open 1, and 2, and 3. And of course, since this photo, the middle one, will be put into 2 3x4 pockets, whenever it comes back from the printer, I will simply just slice it down the middle. So with that done, let me go ahead and get started on the first and last pages for my album. So now that I have got my photo ready and have printed it out on my selfie as 3 4x6s and split that middle one up to go into the 2 3x4 pockets, I'm ready to start on my layout. Now to try to reduce some of the glare on the video, I'm going to just do this on my mat instead of on the page, so hopefully it'll look a little bit better. And I'll start things off with this chalkboard Albums Made Easy kit from We Are Memory Keepers. I absolutely love this new kit. If you like Project Life cards but don't like all the duplicates that come in Becky Higgins' kit, these only have 4 of each card and they're front and back. They also include some cute little 3x4 pockets, some die cut cards, and of course 3x4 cards that are also printed front and back. I've chosen a selection from this kit to start off with for my first page, including my favorite one from the kit, this Embark on Adventures. It so describes my husband and I. And I'm also going to select one of the die cut cards and then this triangle pattern card that had the heart on the back. For the bottom card in that 4x6 pocket, I'm going to take a card from the Brag Pad, which is a 4x6 pad from Fancy Pants What a Wonderful Day collection. It actually has all of the colors that I want to use on this layout, including some pink, some green, a little bit of yellow, and some aqua. And while rounded corners or mixed with non-rounded normally wouldn't bother me, the fact that all of the other cards on this side of the page are rounded and this one is not was kind of throwing me off, so I'm going to round just that one. And I'm using my corner chomper from We Are Memory Keepers, and I probably should have used the smaller radius, but I used the large. There's some yellow on that Fancy Pants card that isn't on the rest of the page yet, so I pulled out the cut-apart sheet from Bella Boulevard's Snapshots collection and selected the yellow wood grain card to use. I'm going to back that pink die cut card with it and then go ahead and trim the card and round off the corners to match. So now I have all of those colors represented in the journaling cards, I'd like to do the same in the embellishment. And since there's so much down there on the bottom right, I'd like to bring that up onto the top left. And this little banner piece is a great place to start for an embellishment cluster. I also want to do a title card that shows the dates that this album covers. It covers the 9th of September of 2012 to the 16th of March of 2013. And I'm using some gorgeous wood grain, gold on white wood grain chipboard letter stickers. These are also by We Are Memory Keepers from their Happy Camper collection. It's actually from last winter's CHA, and these are such pretty letter stickers. I've had them in my stash but haven't used them yet, so I thought this was a perfect time to break them out. I will go ahead and also put the numbers for those days using the sticker sheet from Fancy Pants. Again, this is from What a Wonderful Day, and it has 3 tiny little alphas that are die cut, and then one sort of cork print wood grain, or sort of cork print neutral alpha that is on blocks. If you're familiar with October Afternoon's Mini Market, they're just a little bit smaller than that. So I will use those numbers to put the dates to finish off my date card. Continuing on with that embellishment cluster in the top right, I have several printables from the two-piece shop this month. These are a great match for several collections that are in the shop, including What a Wonderful Day from Fancy Pants and Chalkboard from We Are Memory Keepers. It's a little bit brighter than that last collection, but it still works nicely. For those small circle images, you can use a 1-inch circle punch, and I've pulled in a tag also from that same Fancy Pants collection to use as a base for this cluster. So I will go ahead and put it on the bottom and then layer the banner over the top. And then I have that little globe, which is great for my husband and I, always taking little adventures. We love to travel and go places, even if it is just the aquarium. And I want to add one more little dimensional item to pull some more hot pink up into that corner. And with this photo taking up half the page, that's really all it's going to take to finish that layout. So let me start on the end page for this album. As I was selecting photos for the end page for my album, I used Lightroom to filter the photos for just the dates covered by my album, and then chose just a few that really covered the milestones and some of the really fun things that happened during this time period. So I'm going to make this end page all photos and filler cards with a couple of embellishment clusters. And I'll start the filler cards with that captured card that is from Snapshots by Bella Boulevard, and also the And Then card from the Project Life Midnight Edition. That one makes me laugh because it so makes me think of the movie Dude, Where's My Car? And it's probably something that only my husband and I will ever get, but that's okay. I've cut this multicolored 3x4 card from one of the printables in the shop this month, and it's the basis for pulling in all of the other colors on the layout. The other 2 filler cards I have are really neutral, they're black and white, and I'm going to use a couple of the emptier spaces on them to build some embellishment clusters. I'll start with this arrow striped washi tape that you can actually see really well in person, maybe not so much on video, from my mind's eye. And then I'm going to add just a few pieces to make an embellishment cluster right underneath that little captured camera. And when I'm not sure of where I'm going to place embellishments or even which one I'm going to use, so I'm trying to decide between that pink flower and the polka dot button, I will go ahead and just cut the backing sheet apart. So my poor little sticker sheets end up looking like they've been through major surgery and not put back together again by the time I'm done with the layout. But it's the easiest way for me to rearrange things. So I think that'll work for the embellishment cluster on the captured card. So now it's time to work on the And Then card. And instead of washi tape, I'm going to pull one of these border strips. It's off of a sheet of stickers from the Fancy Pants collection that I've been working with. And I'll go ahead and stick that down, and in just a minute, I will go ahead and notch the end of that so that it looks more like it's a pennant than just a piece of tape running across the bottom. I'm going to again pull out my circle punch, a little 1-inch one, the small one from Fiskars, and punch out one of the little printable circles. They're a perfect fit. And I also want to do a tiny little bit of embellishment in the corner of this photo. And I'll start with that Totally Rad. That's from Marcy Penner's printable this month from Hello Forever. And then I'm going to take one of these little tab stickers and use it to go underneath. Now this photo printed up just slightly smaller than the others. I had the wrong settings on my selfie when I printed. So it's eventually also going to get a backing card. So there will be a frame around that little bit of embellishment that I'll add in just a minute. So I'm pulling from that printable grid card for my color scheme for the page, and I like to bring in a little bit of aqua. And I'll do that in the form of this sticker. Again, this is from the Snapshots collection from Bella Boulevard, and it's a great match for that camera on the captured card from the same line. And I'll layer it up with one of these Fancy Pants chipboard pieces. And then I'll bring in that backing card that I talked about. This is again from the brag pad from that same Fancy Pants collection. And all I really want it for is that pink border. Hopefully my brother and my cousin will forgive me for using pink on the photo of them doing the Star Wars Connect dance game. And bringing in that mat added a lot of weight over onto the right hand side of the page, so I just swapped the two photos on top to put it on the left to even that out so that the pink print on the top and the pink tape on the bottom are balanced out across the page. I do a lot of the same things on doing a single page layout as you see me doing on my double page Project Life spreads, trying to make sure that things are balanced from one side of the page to the other. So now I'm just going to bring in a few small pieces to finish off the embellishment cluster. And these Fancy Pants buttons come on a really high foam that I didn't want that much dimension for those buttons, but it's really easy to peel off the back and just add your own glue dot. So that will pretty much finish things off for my end page, and let's take a look again at the finished products. So here you can see how everything came together in my album, and your creative challenge this week is to finish either the front or the back or both pages for either a Project Life or a traditional album. Be sure to upload your projects to the gallery and click the box for this challenge to be entered for the chance to win a 2-piece gift certificate. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope that you all have a fantastic weekend.